So Adam, talk a little bit about your perspective of the last 2 days. Um, there's obviously a lot of cool capabilities that are being created in the industry. Do you feel like we're moving fast enough?
I think there's the rate at which we'd like to move, and then I think there's the practical rate of change that the longer you're in the business, the more you realize things don't move as fast as you ultimately want them to.
Yeah.
So I think we're moving at a decent pace, but I do wish we were moving faster. I wish that some of the barriers that are really more commercially related, less technical related, would get pushed out of the way, and that we'd have companies working more closely together on things that are important to ultimately the folks who matter, who are the viewers and the advertisers.
Yeah. So talk a little bit more about that, because if you think about the drivers of change, to what extent is it technology companies, research companies, publishers, agency infrastructure? Who owns the biggest burden of moving faster?
I think everyone.
Yeah.
I think that each constituency that you just talked about has a different responsibility, right? So the publishers, I think, need to figure out, and the media companies need to figure out how they're going to work together in the future as a platform, as opposed to independent media sellers.
Yep.
And that is a really big step change from where their current organizations are, where their motivations lie, et cetera. And that's going to be a tough one to untangle. The measurement companies, I think, are challenged with a different task, which is completely rethinking and reinventing the way that they provide marketplace intelligence and marketplace currency to the actors. I think that they've got a tough task ahead of them. Sure. Because moving from what, as you well know, was a panel-based world to a world where everything is addressable, highly fragmented, and really requiring census-level data is a huge change for the measurement companies. And then I think the other constituencies that are key are clients and the agencies. And I think agencies need to reorganize. Yeah. They need to rethink how they're structured and how they go to market, what they're focused on. It shouldn't be about price. It should be about business outcomes. Right. And I think clients need to rethink how they engage with their agencies. I think there's too much pressure on price being the driver, and I think they need to rethink the types of skill sets and capabilities that they really prioritize with their agency partners.
So talk a little bit about, you have a unique perspective on the publisher angle, having spent 6 years at ABC. So if the Adam Gerber essence was talking to the Adam Gerber ABC about the need for ABC to put their inventory into a pool where it could be bought using machine learning and relative to other inventory, but ABC, obviously, the Adam Gerber ABC understands you need to maintain the margin of the programming costs. What's the argument you would use to make that sale?
Well, let's not talk in terms of ABC. Let's just talk in terms of publishers in general, media companies in general. I'm not sure that we know what the argument is yet today, and I think that in its kind of raw form is the problem. There's a hypothesis that moving from the unit-based model and the directly sold model that we live in today to a algorithmically driven, automated, platform-based model will create more value for everyone, right? Mm-hmm. It'll allow the inventory to be redistributed in ways that are more beneficial to advertisers, which therefore will result in price or revenue benefits for the publisher, and ultimately also create value for the consumer, because ad models will be able to be altered, and the experience of viewing video will be able to be made more palatable. I think that's the way we look at it at essence, and that would be the argument that we would make. The problem is the data doesn't exist, right? That no one really knows whether that's what will happen. Publishers, the Adam Gerber of old, on the sell side would argue back, well, but there's no way to know that, rethinking the way that we sell, moving to a platform-based model, applying data and moving to addressability will actually create more demand at a higher price, or at least at a revenue neutral kind of level. And so, you know, it's hard for us to take that step. That's a huge risk for companies that have large existing legacy revenue streams in place. Much easier for companies that are starting from scratch.
Sure.
And that is the inherent challenge between the digital ecosystem, which has grown up from a revenue base of zero, with TV networks and traditional publishing companies, which, you know, have to defend their position in the marketplace and, you know, not give up everything that they have.